Happy Mardi Gras, everyone. It's Fat Tuesday, and I can't think of a better guest to have on Mardi Gras than Tandra Price because Tandra, you are the embodiment of Mardi Gras every day, every event that you walk into. So welcome to the story I'm telling myself.
Yes, thank you. I'm so super excited to be here. Thank you so much, Rita, for inviting me.
My pleasure. Now, if you are joining us, if you're here today, what I would love for you to do is jump in the comments and say hello. Say hello to Tandra and let us know that you're here. And remember, all along the way, we want to hear your questions. We want to hear your insights. That's the reason that this podcast is a broadcast because we want your participation. So make sure that you are joining us. Tandra, I'm going to let you introduce yourself to everyone. Just take a couple of minutes and tell them who you are.
Yes, again, I am Dr. Tandra Price. I am a international best-selling, two-time best-selling author. I am the founder and visionary of Tapped In Magazine, where we really take pride in amplifying the voices of entrepreneurs and making sure that their voices are heard. Not only that, but also helping them to expand their network and to broaden their base. We've been doing that for probably have over 100 people that has been featured on our publication. We have 700,000 online distribution, and we're doing some amazing things in this space, and we just continue to keep growing and growing.
I love it. I love it. I was very lucky to be featured by you in one of the Tap In magazines
Yeah.
early on. So we're here to talk about chasing big dreams today, Tandra. The episode is called "Can I Do That?" because I think all of us have big dreams inside of ourselves, and too often we talk ourselves out of them, and we are surrounded by people talking ourselves out of pursuing those dreams. And when I met you, you were hosting conversations over coffee. It was COVID. It was like it got me through COVID. Your group definitely got me through COVID as a business owner. It was remarkable. Hey, Sonia, so glad that you are with us. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Sonia.
And we were all sort of in that same place. And then you have this idea for Tap In Magazine, and boom, girl, you went from Tap In Magazine to stage to TV to all of these big media things.
Yeah.
And I haven't gotten to hear the whole story. So I get to be a listener as much as a part of this conversation today. Tell us a little bit about how you gave yourself, how did you come up forward with that dream? Where was that inside of you? And how did you choose to give yourself permission in this time frame to go for it?
You know what? Really? Oh my God. First of all, you know how we all have that dream that we want to be that household name of, making sure that, you know what, when people see Tapped In Magazine, I wanted them to be like, yes, that's exactly where I want to be. But you know what? I think what happened from the time of the fact that when we came out of COVID and building those relationships up with the online groups, I think we all had to stop for a second and say, what is it that we really want to do? And you know what? The more that we were throwing it out, because we always say, put it out to the universe, throw it out to the universe, and it doesn't happen. Well, at the same sense, when I was doing that, throwing it out and putting it out, people would be like, I don't know about that. Like, who wants to be in a magazine? Like, it was like, girl, how do you go from, doing networking events to now you're going to be this publisher? But all in all, I kept trying to explain, what I was doing. And, it was like I kept having to ask people, like, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And then, you know what? One day I just happened to say to myself, I'm enough. I'm enough. Like,
Ooh,
I, you
hey,
know,
there's a mic drop right there.
I
All of
don't,
us need to look in the mirror every once in a while and say those words to ourselves.
I'm enough. And
I'm
you know what?
enough.
And when we think about looking in that mirror, when I looked in there and I said, if nobody's going to do a magazine like you, nobody can do what you could do because your gift is for you. But now you have to say to yourself, I can do this. No matter what nobody say, I can do this. So as we were going through the COVID process and, doing the networking events and I was helping amazing women, I took it on myself and said, guess what? They need help too. right? I wasn't the only person, but I know that my gifts and talents could be a good benefit for those who needed the help of getting their brand and messages out. So, you know what? I gave my own self permission. I looked in that mirror and I said to myself, you can do this. You are enough. Don't let anybody stop you. And as I was going along the way, Rita, I would get people that would say to me, girl, this is not going anywhere. This is not going to happen. She says, nobody is going to want to do the magazine the way you want to do it. Nobody's going to pay to get into your publication. They're just not going to do it. Well, I put my foot down. I kept putting myself in different rooms. No matter what people said, I pushed forward because I knew my dream was my dream. I knew that I had a calling to serve and to give back and to help others. I took that dream or vision that I had and I turned it into what it is today. And I'm telling you, when you know that you're good enough, and you put your foot down forward and says, listen, I don't need permission, because if those that don't want to come along the ride with me, there will be someone else will see my vision. Someone else will see what I'm doing and say, I want to be on board. That's a good idea. Can you help me to be able to expand my visibility? Can you help me with being able to get into rooms that I couldn't get into? So I took the passion that I already had with networking and I took that into the publication world and understood that, guess what? I wanted to build some amazing and positive relationships. And look where I am today.
Yeah, thank you. Well, look, so glad you're with us, Sharon. Yes,
Yeah.
love this empowering story of owning your dream and bringing it to life. And, I will say, Tandra, that I get hit up all the time to pay to be a part of awards, to be paid to pay to be in publications and stuff like that. I think what was so different about Tap In Magazine for me was that you made it feel like a community. It wasn't, I'm somebody important and you need to pay me to do this for you. It was, we need to elevate our voices. We need to elevate our visibility, and we can do this together. And here's the contribution you can make, not just in terms of your article, but in terms of helping to cover the cost of producing the magazine. And that was a very different pitch than a lot of other people that are trying to be in your space were coming to me with.
It is. But let me tell you, let's take a step back, because when we think about, I know there's a lot of things out there to say pay to play, but you know what? We also have to take a look at, like, what are we getting out of it? And what I wanted to make sure that people got out of it, even though that they, paid a cost to be in the publication, is that their message was getting distributed even when they weren't in the room. Because you have to look at every time that I wanted to make the magazine so unique and so different that you didn't have any choice but to promote somebody. See, here's how we did it in the concept that took me so long to really think about it, but I knew it was genius, because anytime you put somebody on the front cover of a magazine and you have other influential leaders in there, guess what? When I get on the front cover of a magazine, I'm going to tell my friends, my family, my cousins, all my coworkers, I'm going to have that thing distributed everywhere I go. But guess what? I wasn't just doing myself. I was doing every other amazing woman or man that was inside that magazine got that same opportunity to get promoted as I was doing on my own. See, that's like a double whammy, because even though that you pay, people don't really realize that once you're inside of a publication, other people are looking at that because you're on the front cover and you put that magazine in different spots. So I wanted to make my magazine so unique and so different that everyone could benefit from them. It wasn't really about the cost, because guess what? Being honestly, to feature on the front cover magazine costs thousands and thousands of dollars. But I wanted to make it so cost effective that everybody could reap the reward. See, because one of the things is I knew the reason before I got the results. I knew the reason why I wanted to do the magazine, and I knew the results would come after that. I knew if I was able to help other people grow their business and amplify their voices and to make sure that they were seen and heard, guess what? The results would come. So it wasn't really about, a lot of times I know we get kind of caught up into like, oh my God, it's $1,000 or whatever. Of course, it's not that much, but I'm just saying people get caught up into the fact of, spending money, but let's see how we can actually really amplify our voices. I mean, my goal was to amplify the voices of those who came a part of being a part of our community. And by the part of you being a part of our community, we not only wanted to just put you in the magazine, but we wanted to get you linked up with other people who were doing something that could help you to be able to collaborate. Because we know that in this world of business, we have to have collaborators. But how can we get those collaborators? That's kind of what Tapped In Magazine was about. It was building that community, it was building that collaboration. It was being where you can be able to get something that was cost effective, even though, listen, we know that marketing and visibility is a part of our business and we have to have it. But guess what? As we grow, we want to make sure that we have those type of resources that we can use that can really help us grow exponentially. And that's really what Tapped In Magazine was about.
Well, and what's so brilliant, there are a lot of people in the networking space and that coach and teach people. You're the networking ninja. You are an unbelievable coach. I had you work with some of my clients on networking skills, but you elevated. You took that and you said, this magazine is not just about visibility, it's about getting into rooms
It's about
and the ability to network and build around that, which brought you to the attention, I believe, of Sean Fair.
Yes.
And his group that just exploded possibilities for you, right? You parlayed this original idea about supporting these entrepreneurs and small business owners with a focus on women and Black excellence. And then so tell us a little bit about how that happened.
So again, the whole dream, right? That I wanted to make come true, and that whatever was going to stop me, I wasn't going to let stop me. But I knew I was going to have some challenges and some struggles along the way, but I wanted to make sure that I persevered and move forward. So when I actually decided to, bet on myself, because a lot of times we don't bet on ourselves, but when I decided to bet on myself and step into those rooms, I immediately, because I'm network by trade, I immediately start building those connections. I knew that every speaker that got on that stage, guess what? Needed to have another resource or tool that can amplify their voice, that they could be able to distribute after they left the stage. And so once I saw that need, when I saw that need, I started reaching out to the amazing Sean Fair, who I am now their exclusive publication. But I started reaching out to speaker platforms to say, hey, what's happening to your speakers after that? What do your speakers have when they walk away? What tangible resource do they have that they can go to, book signings, magazine signings, have their words just distributed everywhere. And that's how I really ended up connecting with Mr. Fair. He has an amazing platform, but along with that, I was able to, really collaborate with him. Remember when I said we can't do this thing by ourselves, we have to have collaborators. So when I started collaborating with him, in spreading Tapped In Magazine, I not only were bringing his speakers to make sure that they were seen and heard, but I was bringing other networking groups into his group because they start seeing what we were doing. And I said, hey, in way we can collaborate, I can still have you be put on my publication, but guess what? I can get you on the stage too. Now I can get you on some podcasts like Rita. See, I can start using all these different resources to get you in to other things. So see, Tapped In Magazine is more than just a magazine. It's really you making a statement of making sure of your credibility and authority in your industry and putting you on those spots. We just left Super Bowl. Super Bowl was an amazing thing that Tapped In Magazine now is a part of, because when we were collaborating with all these other speaker platforms, we were publishing magazines. We were not just doing speaker platforms, but we were publishing magazines as well. We happened to get the eye of one of the reps that was at the Super Bowl. We went out there, we did some amazing work. They said, listen, I want you to come back next year. Listen, this year when we were at the Super Bowl, my magazines were everywhere. Jeep Cherokee happened to see one of my magazines on the table at the Super Bowl. They were doing some amazing promotion with some of the Super Bowl wives and girlfriends that was at the Super Bowl with their magazines. With their vehicles. They said, listen, can you do a cover with the ladies that were showcasing our vehicles at the Super Bowl doing any type of events that they have? Do you know Jeep Cherokee said, hey, I want you to be a part. We did some amazing covers for amazing 3 ladies that promoted their Jeep Wagoneers. And now look where we are. Now from there, guess what? We have had so many other opportunities of having Tapped In Magazine be the face of another major companies. But again, we go back to the dream that we had, started from, listen, I'm enough. I can do it. This is what I want to do. From looking into the mirror, that nothing can stop me, to now, listen, we have 6 years in the process. And now we're still developing. We are going to go to Hong Kong because we were able to get into the Flux Award, and they're allowing us to do their magazine for them.
That's amazing. So I
Yeah.
want to step back because part of this journey is it's all not magazine. You
No.
actually are on camera. You've got a microphone, you've got a whole thing.
Yeah.
So, did you always want to be a front and center like that? Or was there a story inside of your head that you had to overcome in order to give yourself permission to be the face, to be the one holding the microphone?
Oh my God, let me tell you, if we go back to childhood, y'all, childhood, I always wanted to be a news anchor. Okay. I always wanted to be a news anchor. I did, I would see the people on television doing the Channel 10 news, or, you would see it like the Oscars and stuff like that. So anyway, it took me that's a dream by itself. So I said to myself, let's elevate this thing. Let's elevate it to a whole nother different level. I said, I'm going to start doing personal interviews. So I connected with a television company on stage. I mean, on stage, on girl, I can't even get the name of television station. On Stage Plus Network television station. And I said, listen, I'm going to start doing some personal interviews. I'm going to go out into the community. Listen, nobody asked me. Nobody said it was a special event or anything. I took my microphone. I went and got me a one of those mics made, and I went out into the community. Let me tell you, this is how you know that dreams do come true. I went out into the community. I got me a mic, and I just started interviewing people, just asking them about different things. Like if it was an event, I went to an event, I would just say, well, what did you think about this event? I mean, what was some of the special moments that you had? And I was had me a videographer, and that videographer was recording me. Okay. I came back, put that information on our TV network, and boom, here we are today. Now I'm doing personal interviews. Let me tell you, you can do this. Don't let anything stop your dreams. Don't let anything say you can't do it. Listen, when people try to be haters and say, listen, that's not going to work, you know what? We're going to prove them wrong, because it will work. It will work. But anyway, so now I started going out with my microphone. So now I get invited to personal places to do interviews just based on that. Just based on that. I took my mic one day, made it, got it all fixed up, and I went out and started just doing interviews. So
But
now
you had to start. You had to start with a magazine.
I started, man, you know what? It took from the magazine, because guess what? I looked at the magazine and I said, guess what? There's more to this. I want this to be more than
Mm.
a magazine. When I say Tapped In Magazine is more than just a magazine, it is more than just a magazine. I wanted to take it, I wanted to inspire women who wanted to be on the front cover and couldn't be on the front cover. Listen, now we have a team of people that go out to different events with tapped in mics, and now they're doing interviews. I wanted people, listen, if you were like me back in the childhood days and wanted to get to be on television, guess what? I got you covered, because now you can do the television. But it's more than that. It started, let me tell you, it started from a dream of when me and my husband was relocating. You would think I was in the military, but I'm not. But when we were relocating, and I had to build up resources, y'all, I had to build up ways to connect. I started, conversations over coffee. I started my ladies networking groups, because you know what? I was traveling to different locations and didn't have anybody to talk to, didn't know what any resources was. I came in and said, hey, you know what? Let's have a cup of coffee at a coffee shop. And that's really how conversations over coffee got started. I would be like, if we lived in Connecticut or we lived in California, I would start this networking group up, and it exploded. Came to Oklahoma, it just exploded. And now from that conversations over coffee, because I wanted to have a connection with some place wherever I was. Now today, it went from conversations over coffee, which we still have that group, is a thriving group, to now we are, listen, we're on television being news anchor women. Okay. So we went from here to there, and it's been amazing. Let me tell you that is truly, truly a dream, to tell yourself that, you know what, anything is possible and you can do it. A lot of times we stop ourselves, because, we look at other people doing things, be like, nah, I can't do that. I can't do that. But yes, you can. We really can. Listen, I'm proven witness, because I've seen it all the time on television and people. And I said, guess what? One day I'm going to have my own mic. I'm going to have my own mic. I'm going to be doing my own interviews, and I'm going to be on television.
I wonder, Tandra, if part of the secret sauce for you in giving yourself permission and saying I'm enough, is that you have such a servant heart in all of this work. You are elevating your name and you are elevating your brand, but you are not just reaching back for one woman or
No.
one Black person, you are pulling so many people forward with you. If you didn't have that helping others component, do you think you would have given yourself permission to take that microphone and go out in the community and do those things?
You know what? I feel like I think I would have. I think I would have, because that's just me naturally. Before it even got to the level where it is, I was still giving back, and I was still serving, and I was still trying to help others to elevate. I go back to, I knew what my reason was. I know the reason
Mm.
why I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do, and I knew that if we understood that, then the results would come. I know a lot of times people say, find out what your why is. But we got to know the reason why we're doing the things that we want to do. Like, why did I want to, start going out and reporting? Because guess what? I always wanted to be a news anchor. I always wanted to be on television. I mean, it's just not Black women that we help. We help a diverse women. It's a diverse group of people, because I feel like every woman is powerful. Every woman has a voice, and no matter what nationality you are, when we come together collectively, we have power. We have power. And I think if we look at how we can serve and give back, I mean, it just naturally will come forward. You will get a different spirit inside of you to say, guess what? I can help another lady. So I'm just not pulling one or two. I'm trying to bring everybody with me, because I know once I help those, guess what? They'll be able to help someone else. Then they'll be able to help someone. And it becomes that power of movement, of a chain of reaction, that guess what? We're all enough.
Yes. Well, and you're leading the way. Welcome, Leslie. I'm glad that you're with us. And Sharon said it, like your energy, Tandra. During COVID and the conversations over coffee, you would start every meeting wins. You go around the room, give your win. And it was so, because I was like, I want to have a good win next week. What am I working on this week that's going to get me? Like, you really do a phenomenal job of tangible, inspiring steps that people can take. And so each of these steps along the way, instead of just focusing on you, like you having the microphone, that's your childhood dream, but saying, oh, I know other women that have that dream. Maybe I can get them in the room too. And there is this servant mindset that is so needed, that is often missing when somebody's star is rising.
Mm-hmm.
They can often get disconnected and leave people behind. And I think what is incredible is that you aren't doing that. And and I wonder about that story. What's the story of the people that disconnect versus the internal narration of the people like you who bring others along with them?
You know what? Listen, there's enough for everyone. Okay. There is such enough business for everyone. I mean, there's no competition, and there shouldn't be any competition. We should all be in the mindset of, how do we collaborate? It's not like, I think the disconnect becomes, once a lot of people get to where they are, they feel like, you're going to take my client, or you're going to take this. But it's enough. It's enough for everybody. Guess what? I collaborate. Even though I'm a magazine publication, I collaborate with other magazines. There is enough, because guess what? The goal is to serve. The goal is to collaborate. The goal is to build bigger empires. And the only way that we could do that is if we look at how we can collectively come together. And I know a lot of times that becomes the disconnect. We get to this particular level, and we feel like, I'm not going to share my ideas. I'm not going to share my clients with you. But the best thing that you could do ever is making sure that you are that one-stop shop for your clients. And I've learned that along the years of my networking. Guess what? I always keep a resource bank, because even though I may not be able to help that client, and I still want to keep my client, guess what? I pull out of that resource database of another company that can help my client. I don't care that if they go there, because the best referral and the best resources, when you can help your client solve their problems, needs, and wants, guess what? You become their client for life. Now they become your walking billboard. Now they become your ambassador, because they understand how being loyal to them and being able to help them. See, what happens I feel like when we're in business, that a lot of times, even when I got started, listen, a lot of people didn't want to help me, because they were like, I'm not believing in that. But what they were really saying is, I like your ideal, and I don't want your ideal to go anywhere. And that's what people do.
Oh, yes. Yeah. I mean, people, there's always room for the green-eyed monster, right?
Yes. But we have to get past that. And that's where we push forward. I mean, that's where, you feel like, okay, those are the people that don't want to see you succeed. But now, guess what? Those are the same people that are circling back around to you and saying, hey, you know what? I got this great idea that me and you can work together with. I mean, I don't know if you've ever had that, but that's what happens, because when they didn't want to help you because they didn't feel like this was going to be something, because they may have possibly wanted to do what you were doing, but they didn't have the courage or the energy to just start it. But you did. But I did. I started it. So now that I'm there, guess what? Even though you circle back around, even though you were still my hater during that time, guess what? I'm still willing to help you, because I guess what? It takes that collaboration. It takes that team in order for us to grow together. And if I could still help you in any way, I still want to be able to help you, because that's how I am. I mean, that's how I want to serve. Again, I know the reason why I'm doing it. And because I know the reason, all my results will come.
Well, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about one of the biggest elephants in everybody's room when it comes to chasing your dream. And that is when you got to put the money on the table.
Yeah.
Right? When you choose to bet on yourself, you're literally putting money on the table about that. What were some of the internal conversations that your internal critic or narrator was having with you, and how did you get yourself to the place where you were willing? You said, I went out and bought a mic. I mean, I know the publication, like
Yeah.
you were deep into it yourself, but you were spending money at the same time. So tell us just a little bit about how we navigate, because that is the biggest one for most of us, is when it comes to putting dollars and pennies out on the table to bet on ourselves. We can bet intellectually all day long, but when the money has to be on the table, how did you navigate that?
You know what? There was many times that I said, I am not going to do this, because it was just too cost effectively for me. Right. Look, that conversation came up all the time. It came up all the time. I had to choose between, buying this or investing in this or doing that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm glad, one, I betted on myself. Two, I'm glad that I took the time to invest in myself, because now I'm better able to help someone else. Because see, what happens is, a lot of times we think that we can do this thing all on our own. We think we can get those freebie things. It's not going to work. You're going to have to put the money, because I wanted something different. So I had to do something different. You know what I'm saying? Let me say that again, because I wanted something different. So I had to do something different. So that allowed me, or that made me internally say, guess what? If this is where you need to be, and I really soul searched everything that I was doing before I put the money in, even though it was cost effective. I mean, I said, okay, I kept saying to myself, if I want something different, I got to do something different. A lot of times we keep going through the same wheel. Okay. We keep going through the same wheel. And I knew that in order for me to be able to, have to go out and do interviews, guess what? I not only had to buy the mic, but I had to invest into the television company that I was doing with. Okay. I know that I needed to get visible, right? Because nobody was knocking on my door saying, Tandra, can I have your business, or what kind of business do you have? I know people needed to know who I was. I had to make my brand more recognizable. I had to make sure that I learned what it took to be in the publishing business. So in order for me to internally say, invest that money, my goal was, or my mind thought was, if I want something different, I got to do something different. If I want to be that name brand, I have to do something different. It's not going to come to me just on a freebie. It is not going to come to me. And if I'm not investing, and we have to invest in ourselves, we have to bet on ourselves. There was a lady that said, just an example, one of my clients that, said, listen, I don't have the money. I flat out don't have the money in order to do that. But you had already blocked yourself, because you already said to yourself, you didn't have the money. You didn't even figure out ways that you could get it. You didn't even figure out how you could circulate what you had in order to make it work. Maybe you couldn't get the full boatload or whatever it was, but you'd already stopped yourself when you already said to yourself, I don't have it. I can't do it. And that's what we have to stop, because I said to her the same thing. Guess what? If you want something different, you got to do something different. If you're tired of your 9-to-5 job, guess what? If you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. You're just gonna keep doing it. Lord and behold, after that, you know what? She invested the money, one with coaching with me, two with getting on the publication. And now look where she is. She was able to walk away from her job. She's now a full-time entrepreneur. She's making more money than she made when she was working on the job. Because guess what? The thing I'll say to anybody, if you want something different, you got to do something different. If you want the same old thing, then keep doing the same old thing. But in order for us to understand that we have to put the money into us, bet on yourself. Look in the mirror. Look in the mirror and say, guess what? I am enough and I can do this. I can do this. And never say the word that you don't have no money. I always say, listen, it's circulating. I got to circulate what I have, because when you start throwing out those negative words, those negative tones, guess what? Then those start getting planted inside of your head.
Yes. Yes.
You're ready to do something. That's going to be the first thing that stops you. You are going to stop yourself before somebody else stop you, because you always look at it. I mean, like right now, there's a lady that got, I'm just throwing this number out here, but there's a lady who's trying to put a program together. And she says, listen, this is going to cost X, Y, and Z dollars. And I said, as long as you show the value of your program, products, and service, then it's enough. It's enough. You determine what it is. Because guess what? We have to take the time to, not only are we betting ourselves, but the time that we invest, the time that we go out and invest, and we have to put all of that back in there. Again, stop with the negative thoughts and thinking. If you want something different, you got to do something different.
Yes. And what I think is also true in what you're saying, that I just want to call out as a nuanced fine point, is you're not betting on yourself and sort of holding back. I think one of the reasons is we get our foot in two camps. We're like testing the waters instead of really betting on ourselves. And what you're saying is you can't put one foot in and one foot out. You got to step 2 feet in and say, I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm in. And so in means I'm going to figure out how to make it
work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you start, what does it say? When you stay in the shallow end of the water, listen, it don't go nowhere. You got to get out in the ocean and you got to float. You got to have enough faith that, you know what, in the determination, don't let anything stop you. If this is where you truly passionately want to do, and you know that it's going to make a difference, and you got to know the reason. I have to keep saying, you have to know the reason why we do anything. You got to just put your foot on the pedal and say, listen, I'm all in. I'm going for it. You know, listen, today may be a good day. Tomorrow may not be. But guess what? I'm still going to keep going. Because listen, along my journey, I didn't have all my days weren't the best days. Okay. I had some rough, I had some tidal waves. But guess what? I still stayed on the surfboard and kept, going over them, because I knew that this was going to make a difference, and it was going to be able to make an impact. Guess this is Women's History Month, and we are now at the point where we're writing our story. What story do you want to leave behind? What legacy do you want to leave behind? And this is where we at. Every day we get up in the morning, we are creating history. And a lot of times we don't think that, but we're creating history, and we have to keep moving forward in that way. What do you want? What kind of history are you creating today? One, you got to get up, look in that mirror, as I do every day, and say, guess what? Today is going to be a great day, because guess what? I'm enough. And I know that I know that I know.
I love it. I love it. So for all of the big dreamers out there, here's some takeaways that I'm getting from our conversation today, and you feel free to jump in and give us more. And one is, you've got to have some real emotional connection. You've got to have meaning behind this. If you're not really emotionally connected to this dream, if you're not feeling all that passion, and you can't say what it is, you can't define it, it's not ready to go all in yet. You've got to get that first. And then the second thing is, then you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I know I want this thing, and I'm enough. I can do this. Right. And then you step into the deep end. You trust, you put yourself all in. You don't put yourself in this 1 foot in, 1 foot out position. What else would you give? Final thoughts, Tandra, for anybody chasing a big dream, asking themselves that ever niggling negative Nelly question of, am I enough? Can I do this?
I'm just gonna leave this thought. Listen, just start. Just start. Don't let the negativity take you. Don't let the fear get you. Don't let the anxiety get you. You're here to serve a purpose, and that purpose is not going to be served if you don't just start. Just start.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Words of wisdom from Dr. Tandra Price. Look, we've been talking about Tap In Magazine, phenomenal publication. I'm going to drop the link right now for all of you. You should check out Tap In Magazine and make sure that you're connecting with Tandra on LinkedIn is her favorite place. So go find her on LinkedIn, Dr. Tandra Price, and hit her up in the messages. Just say, hey, I saw you on the podcast. Let's talk. She will love having the opportunity to talk with you. Thanks for being with us, Ruth. So let's see. It is Tuesday. We are back on Friday and Saturday for 2 more episodes this week. So Friday afternoon, Gary Spencer from England is going to be with me. So that's going to be an afternoon episode. And then on Saturday, one of my favorite people, Susan LaPlay Miller, is coming. We're doing a special Saturday episode because we are going to talk about one of those challenges that we all face in our lives. Doesn't matter. It's not in work, personal life, every part of your life. So 2 more episodes coming up this week. Be sure that you are following so that you don't miss anything. For those of you that are with us live, thank you for engaging with us in the comments. We loved having that time with you. And if you're catching this on replay, hit us up. If you have any questions or any thoughts you want to share, we would love to hear from you. Everybody have a wonderful Tuesday. Happy Mardi Gras. Thank you for joining us on The Story I'm Telling Myself. If you loved this episode, would you do us a big favor to help us reach a bigger audience? Simply subscribe to The Story I'm Telling Myself podcast and rate this episode and share it with a friend. Thank you for listening.